right, guys. So we are back for another episode today here at HBR. And today we're talking about professionals with me. Today I also have Jesus here, who is a lender. I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself. And then we have William. As you know, guys, real estate topics here. And we have somebody here who wants to talk to us about professionalism within the industry. And it's a topic that I've been thinking about. People who are coming into the industry nowadays, I'm even starting to see people who are like, you know what, should I have a resume? How should I present myself? And these are questions that people weren't asking 2-3 years ago. What do you think about professionalism within the industry, especially you on the lending side? Sure, whenever it comes.
I think you're going to start seeing that, truthfully, you have to sell your walking resume. Speaking for myself, to the team members that I have back at the office, to now the industry, it's really changing, where it's a value, it's a performance driven industry where, yes, truthfully, every angle you look at, every professional approach, from the attire, the way you carry yourself, the presentation that you have, it truthfully is changing the game.
William, what do you think about professionalism of real estate?
Dressing well, and like slang words. You know how on TikTok we're starting to see all these realtors pop. I don't think that's professional. I really would think, someone in the lending side who's actually serious about business. And if a realtor comes over here and wanting to, to do business with you, and all you see on TikTok or somewhere that they present themselves as messy or cursing all the time, is like, come on, man. Like, do I really want to work with you? I mean, that's what I would think. People's opinions are different, but to me, professionalism is like, dressing good and stuff like that. Not using too many curse words, slang words. Also, making sure you present yourself well, smell good, and have a clean car. It doesn't have to be a brand new car, but always have a clean car, because it just if you have a messy car, and let's say, for example, you're like showing a client a house or something like that, and by emergency you had to take them. I mean, you really think they're gonna like be like comfortable in your dirty?
But you always have to be prepared for the worst. One of our realtors who can't be here today, Flor, she's usually here, our co-host, right?
Yeah.
She's had that happen. And it's funny because I always tell her she has the worst of luck whenever she's showing her clients. And she had one time where one of her clients' tire blew up, and then she had them in her car, and then something happened to her car, like she got hit or her tire blew up too. And it's like, you never know whenever you need to have them in your automobile. So it goes back to what William was saying, right? As a realtor, these are things that could affect you or somebody within the real estate profession. This is what people forget. This is not a side hustle. We're not hustlers here. We're professionals, or at least what people forgot, right? People have forgot about that. They treat this like a side hustle. And this is one thing that I've been looking at, is the actual effects of not being professional. How does that affect somebody within the industry? And one thing that I see a lot is people just don't take you seriously.
Yeah.
I hear a lot of realtors use this, oh, I'll never wear a suit because I don't want to see stuffy. I don't want to seem stuffy. I don't want to seem unapproachable to my clients. Well, are you doing a disservice to your client by not showing up professional? Like your client, they're putting one of the biggest trust in you.
Yeah, it's one of their biggest
expenses.
Yeah.
But they're putting it in you. And just something as simple as showing up clean, smelling good, looking well. Of course, sometimes you don't even have to wear like a full suit. We do that, especially like I always say, I wear suits because I like suits, is what I really like. But in the summertime,
You're known.
Yeah,
in the picture I've seen you.
In the summertime, I get it. I understand, right? It can get hot, and you don't want to be out there sweating through your suits, and you don't have enough money, especially as coming in as a new realtor, to have a big wardrobe. Be presentable for your side of town.
I agree with you there. I mean, for me, growing up in the industry at Chase, when I got hired at 21 years old, you don't have a whole lot of credit. People talk to you and they're asking you questions. You're the one that's going to give me advice on how to manage my money. Well, this is where you take the time, and if you feel good, look good.
Yeah.
You do.
And there's a
I think it's smell good, look good, feel good.
yes.
Yeah.
And you do perform better. I would say is it gives you an edge and it gives you a competitive advantage, especially when you're coming up in the industry. For me, like I said, growing up working at Chase, it did help me a lot when I was going through that my growing stage. I
Mhm.
would say it definitely presented you appear better. You look more confident. You carry yourself well. And so when you're presenting, it just makes your job that much easier because they understand, the clients understand that you're making the time to invest in yourself. You're going to invest in their time, their money, their their assets.
Yeah, exactly. And the way that you show up to your clients is a representation of the way that you're going to handle the transaction. Now, of course, I am not saying that just because somebody's in a suit that you can 100% trust them, right? But you're going to trust somebody a little bit more right off the bat. Somebody who shows up in shorts to sell you a $400,000 house versus somebody who shows up in a suit to sell you a $400,000 house. One of them you're going to think knows a little bit more. Now, of course, that is the first thing that
Perception.
you present.
that's
And then
perception.
again, it's showing your clients respect. Show your client that respect. Hey, I know that you're going to drop a lot of money here. Let me present myself to at least calm you down, calm your nerves of somebody who knows what they're doing, right? A lot of times it's not even about whether, oh, I'm comfortable this way or this is how no, it has nothing to do with that. It's about your client, it's your clientele. They're putting a big responsibility on your shoulders
On
to
your
guide
shoulders.
them. You should show up presentable. There was this podcast that I was watching with Michael Franchese, right? Franchese. He's an old Colombo underboss or old Colombo. I think he was a capo.
Yeah.
I can't remember, right?
You've been watching?
Oh, dude, he's one. I freaking love anything mob
Oh,
boss,
man.
right? And he had a guy on there who was talking about suits. And the guy who was talking about suits, he's actually a suit maker who made a whole wardrobe for Michael. And he was saying that one time, whenever he was just selling suits, not necessarily selling his own, but for the company that he worked for, he went to a banker who he had $1 million clients and even a $1 billion client. And he was there to go sell the banker some suits. And the banker would just turn him down. Like, nah, you know what? I'm not gonna buy suits. He listened to his whole pitch, but he's like, you know why I'm not gonna buy a suit? I'll tell you why. I won't buy a suit because whenever I show up to my clients, I don't want them to think that I'm stealing money from them to look good. And then the guy who sells the suit was like, you know what? That's a disservice to your client. How is your client going to trust you with those $1 million if you're showing up in basketball shorts or in a t-shirt? It shows that one, you're not confident in the way that you present yourself. And two, why are you worried about your client not thinking about you stealing? That's a red flag right there.
Yeah, the subliminal message.
Exactly. Exactly. And then of course, right? So let's move away from the wardrobe side
Yeah,
because
attire is one thing, but really, truthfully, it's how you feel inside. And I feel like when you change your attire, you start changing not just your apparel, but you also start composing yourself. You start walking, straight. You start sitting down a little bit better, and you talk more confident.
yeah, definitely. And again, right, like I was saying right now, I think we touched a lot on the wardrobe side, and it's I think it's something that realtors need to hear, or
Yeah.
people who claim to be
Everybody in
professionals
the industry,
within the industry should hear this, right?
Yeah.
But now I want to move forward to time management. I think it's something. Oh, our broker was able to make it here. We got your spot, Nate. And time. Here we go. We're just getting started. We're just getting started.
They pulled me over and I got a ticket.
Yeah. So we're gonna have your camera right here.
There,
Okay.
bro. I wasn't
Yeah.
I
there.
know, man. They wouldn't let me go. Yeah.
you were in the caddy with all blacked out windows.
Yeah.
With the limo tent all around.
Oh, my bad.
Your camera's gonna be over here.
Oh, I see it. Oh,
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, we got a little different setup right now.
all right.
So again, Nate, go ahead and introduce yourself for people who haven't been watching.
My name is Nate Valderas. I just got a ticket with HPD. I'm not sure what I did, but yeah. Not professional.
They were not. See,
I mean,
dude,
Oh, I was gonna get off, but go ahead.
For
Sorry.
a match,
bro, you didn't have your
No,
tie.
but
Yeah.
you know what?
Yeah, no, I didn't have my tie on either. Yeah, but okay, so we talked about the dress code, which is something that we've talked about before.
Yeah.
And now we're moving over into our time management. So what is professionalism within this industry? Somewhere where nobody tells you necessarily what to do or where to show up at what time. How does time management actually play a part in that. And for me, it's having a schedule and understanding what I'm going to do the first part of the day. For me, the first part of the day and the very last part of the day are my personal time. The first part of the day for me is learning new things and actually, working on myself. The last part of the day, like after 7 o'clock, that's around the time where I get to enjoy my free time.
What time
Right.
do you wake up?
I try to wake up
I'm doing
around.
now 4 a.m.
Really, man, dude.
It's doing wonders for me right now.
Really, what time are you going to bed?
I'm going to bed at 9.
At 9:30, man.
I also have kids, so
Gotcha. See,
I
so
have-
that's my hard part with waking up that early. I want to, but I can't go to sleep earlier than like 11:30. I have such a hard time going to sleep earlier than that time.
it's a learned behavior. But I understood that if I really want to wake up and be at my all, I have to balance out the sleeping schedule. Now, it's not saying that I don't from time to time stay up to 11 or 12, but just to giving myself a consistency on time, a habit. My body's already waking up. I wake up at 3:50.
And it gives you more time for yourself, so you're able to dedicate more time to your work or to your family.
It opens up the time to make time for the gym now and do my rituals, I call them now, where I prepare my protein. But it sets the tone for now what I want to do during the day, which is make time to get to the office early. I'm the first one at the office sometimes. Allows the team to get together, and truthfully, it just helps across the board during planning your day. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that also goes into the professionalism part, especially that we're in, where nobody really tells us what time to clock in or clock out, right? You kind of have to make that for yourself. And one thing that whenever I left the refineries, I started to wake up a little bit later because I was used to waking up really early, and I started working out like around 11 o'clock in the morning. But that interferes with the time that you're working. So you're answering emails while you're at the gym, which of course, if you have to, you can, but you're not dedicating, you're not focusing your time to your profession. So I started to wake up a little bit earlier and doing the gym, doing the work that I do on myself earlier in the morning, which is not as early as you get up, right? Mine is more
Habit
like
now.
7.
It's a habit.
Yeah, mine is more from like 7 to like 8:30 or 9. That's my time where I say I'm working on myself. And then late in the afternoon is whenever it's my free time where I get to enjoy and relax. But everything in between there, even going back to the way that I started doing, at first I was doing OMAD, right? The 1 meal a day was literally so I could focus and work a little bit more. So I even my eating time window, I've
Remember
shrunk it.
that's
So it's a way, and it all goes back to us being able to dedicate more time into our profession. What can you talk on that, Nate? You have anything to say on that part?
So I have a sleeping disorder, so I can't sleep past, like, sleeping in for me is probably like 7:30, 8 o'clock. But like this morning I woke up at 3:30, and I went to sleep last night at 1 in the morning. So for some reason, man, no matter, that's why I don't like, a lot of people, they think I'm a lightweight, right, at drinking, but I don't like drinking and hanging out really late, because I'll go to sleep 2, 3 in the morning and I'll wake up at 7, no matter what. 7:30.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Just
So
because your body knows it knows it needs to get up. It knows you have
yeah.
to get up early.
So this is another
Responsibilities te levantan.
this is another thing too.
those bills.
Yeah, the bills wake you up in the morning. But for me to be able to sleep, I think the latest, probably about 2-3 weeks ago, I was so tired. I took what is it called, Dayquil, or not, NyQuil, the NyQuil, the little pills, whatever. I took a NyQuil and a tea and everything, and I slept into like 10:30 or 11. I woke up with my whole body hurting, like I was like in pain. But
You slept.
because I slept in, because my body's not used to it. But I cannot take sleeping pills. One time somebody gave me a sleeping pill, and
Melatonin?
huh?
Melatonin?
No, a real sleeping pill. I think it was
Oh,
like, because I was having trouble sleeping, and because I used to be able to go like 2-3 days without sleeping, and so somebody gave me an Ambient, and it half, and I woke up, but I couldn't move my body, and that was torture to me. Like, I could hear everything that was going on, and I can, like, literally, I could hear the TV, I could hear people, I could hear, everything, but
Just
I
couldn't
couldn't
move.
freaking move
That's
my
new.
arm. It was the worst thing ever. I never ever took another sleeping pill.
Yeah, no, I'm terrified of
Yeah.
medication. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Pills
terrified
in
of going to the doctor.
general.
Go to the doctor, bro. I'm gonna go to the doctor when I'm dead. Yeah, that's when I'm going to.
You got a week to live. Nah, but no, I don't have a sleeping pattern or sleeping routine. The only have or not. I can literally lay in bed. That's the
But that's sometimes that's all you need.
yeah. That's
Your
it.
body, truthfully, is getting the rest that you need.
Yeah.
I know there's sleep stages. I don't know all the stages.
No, it's because I got a good conscience. So
Okay. También.
You don't got it. Yeah, that too. Let's put it in there.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Well.
no, but seriously, like I can literally go from working a computer, shut it down, lay my head on the pillow, and go to sleep.
Dang.
I shut it off and shut it on. So
The blue light from the computer doesn't like
no,
affect you or
I
nothing?
always hear that stuff, that the blue light and the this
Yeah,
and
I
that.
don't-
Not
I-
me.
I-
man.
I
in
do
front of the
the true
computer
tone
all-
on my phone whenever it's time to go to sleep. That way it makes me tired.
Sure.
I put it on night shift mode. It turns yellow and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I do.
That's
The
what I
true
do.
tone, yeah. But I was thinking whenever I was coming up with these topics on how professionalism needs to be brought back into our industries here in real estate, right? I was thinking about conversations that I've had with certain realtors within a deal, without a deal, and just regular environments. And I remember this one time I was in this deal with this realtor, and it had been going sideways the whole time. It was an issue with the loan, then it was an issue with the house in between, and me and this realtor were going back and forth. And I don't like to text whenever there's an actual issue with the realtor, right? Because
You
it could be
gotta call 'em.
misinterpreted, right?
Yeah.
Or they could think about it another way, or not even look at it. Sometimes they might pass it up, depending on how many deals they're dealing with. If other agents are texting them, you might get left behind. So I always call, especially if there's a major issue. And in this case, we had already gone through like 3 or 4 major issues. And it was a week before closing that we had another issue that had to delay the process about a week. So I call this realtor, and the moment he answers, I'm already tired of this, yada, 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 whatever, screaming at me.
Dang.
And I let him, right? I let him, I say, hey, bro, relax. I'm calling you to let you know that we're good moving forward. Take it easy. But now I know that this dude can get heated like this. And that's something that's not good for realtors in the industry whatsoever. You can't let your feelings get involved within any deal. You have to, and it goes back to professionalism,
Yeah, it is.
because you put the deal at jeopardy whenever you get emotional. And it's bad. That's bad for your clients. You're putting it at jeopardy for your clients. Your clients are using you, so they don't have to be the ones to worry about their emotions, right? You should be the buffer there. And this agent got emotional, and now I knew his buttons to push if I needed to. But I didn't have to. It was actually at the finish line of the deal. But I wanted to talk about the way that people interact within the industry. Like, how does that actually affect them as a realtor or somebody within the industry? Like, you deal with the realtors themselves, right? Have you ever had a realtor blow up on you? And how do you see them whenever they're interacting with their clients? Like, how does
Number
that
one,
affect
you have
them?
to understand that, yes, time is always the best educator. And yes, as a lender, you're going to see a lot of stress. Sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes it's not your fault. You can't put, most of the times the lender is the bad guy. I feel like I've always gotten, a lot of fingers blamed them. And that's okay. As long as I keep my composure. I keep everybody at bay, because there's always a scapegoat in every transaction. When the things go south. Now, thankfully, when you're the lender and things go really smooth and you close, sometimes they're like, "Hey, you closed. The financing went through in 2 weeks." But in reality, when we have difficult files, I feel like as in the industry, you're gonna get a lot of these harder deals. You just have to be patient. Patient, because a lot of the times you've already gone through these, but the other partners, or the other partners from the realtors, sometimes haven't seen a $30,000 appraisal shortage, haven't seen uh, floor, flooring, or an appraiser saying, hey, this is uninhabitable, and then they're saying, well, no, it's habitable. Somebody lives in
He
it.
said I was living here.
Yeah. Well, appraiser says you shouldn't live here, but you're living in here.
Yeah.
And how do you respond to that? And so for me, I had a lot of those situations where it comes up, and I just have to say, every deal is unique. This might be the first time you've seen this, but this is normal in the industry. That sometimes the properties don't come out of the box. Sometimes appraisers' perception of value sometimes might go up, might be a little lower than what you're expecting. We just have to be, accepting of the circumstances and understanding that you do have to adjust. You do have to communicate and having that patience. But to be honest, have I had clients and realtors yell at me? Yes. Frustrated. One of them moved out completely of their home. That they had everything in a storage not a storage, but a U-Haul. And so like, what do I do with the U? This is me starting out. This is in 2016, and
Oof.
Yeah. I've heard of stories like that.
Yeah,
I almost had one happen like that to
so
me
they're like,
before.
"Where do you want me to park? Do you want me to park at your office?" And I said no.
They're like, you can't park here, bud.
You know, the mortgage crisis, right? The mortgage meltdown or whatever they want to call it, right? For a minute there, every realtor talked bad to each other. Man. I was looking for my survey, and I don't know how the heck I came to some email from 2008 or something. Like, wow, I'm like, man, I gotta start erasing these emails. And I saw this email with this one chick. I'm not gonna put her on blast because she's pretty well known. I ran into her and we were pretty cool, but oh my gosh, she was horrible. And she would talk so bad, like literally like just condescending in a bad mood. I mean, it was a bad time for our realtors, so everybody was
It's a
getting
bad time
super
for
early.
everybody.
Yeah, but I will put Nikola Kosovic on blast, man, because he was horrible, man. Dude, he had all the HUD homes at that time, and from what I heard, like he got sick. I heard he got sick. I heard he had like a stroke. I don't know. They say he got sick that so bad that he just exited the business.
The
But
stress.
he had all the HUD homes. He had all the foreclosures. He had all of them, and he was getting. I think he was getting straight from HUD, or I'm not sure what deal he had. But every foreclosure home that you saw had his name on it. And you talk. I mean, literally, you would call him just to ask him a question or try to verify. He'd yell at you, tell you to go to the website, call you names. If he didn't close on time, he'd cuss you out. Or like, wow. I said, bro, he was
Only a
it
foreclosure.
was a bad
What
time.
could be bad with the foreclosure?
So that's where we got the idea for the Realtor Fight Club. Yeah, because at when all that was going on, Victor was just getting into the business, and he was making phone calls and stuff, and they were cussing him out and telling him things, and he was young, of course, so they were just being ugly with him. And so he said, man, you know what, man, he goes, we need to pull up on these guys, we need to. I'm like, nah, take it easy,
He said, oh yeah,
he said, I'm gonna do. He goes, man, we need to start a realtor fight club. Let's see how real these guys are, man. They're over here talking crazy on the phone, but you know what? I honestly didn't see. Realtors didn't start being more polite to each other until Facebook started getting popular, in my opinion, because it was like, okay, you can't hide no more. I see you. You have kids. I see your house. I know what you look like. I'm gonna run into you, and I did start to see a big change in realtors etiquette, whenever Facebook started getting really popular. But yeah, but it was tough for a while. And then not just that, you got to remember, and I always talk about, 'cause we just had a few good years, with COVID and everything, and we just started seeing these realtors that were just lax, getting off in tinnies and Hawaiian shirts and stuff like that. And it was kind of reminiscent to 2006, 2007, whenever
right before the crash.
right before the crash.
wave.
It was ridiculous. Like literally, I would go show a home. This is a new business, and and Hawaiian shirt and shorts and sandals all the time. He would be at
Everywhere.
every event with holding a beer with a koozie, and he would show houses like that. And this guy was selling. I mean, he was making a lot of money because at that time, Remax was doing really good. Is Remax even still in business anymore? I don't even know. I don't think they're in business anymore.
I haven't seen him around over here. Yeah,
but Remax was really big back then, and this guy was just killing it. And I was like, man, I gotta dress in a suit, and this guy's over here dressing like, he just came from a fishing trip, and he's closing, $500,000 homes. I was
The
like,
only thing I could think of is your network.
yeah, yeah.
You made it.
yeah. Well, you know what? And again,
Residuals of
we were
the-
talking about earlier, right? Was the fact that it's presentable for your market. There's this small, like I forget where it's in Florida, I think. It's a very small little area, and it's right on the water.
Mhm.
Like, and it's old retired people. they're not expecting their realtors to show up in a suit and tie, right? Because that realtor doesn't have to cater to the general public. It's a very particular
niche
client.
community.
Right here, we have to cater to a general public. So you should show yourself presentable like a banker here would, right? Because you don't know who you're going to run into or who your client is and what kind of business they've done in the past. So you need to show up presentable, at least as somebody that they might see at the bank, at the bare minimum, right? So, and another thing that we were talking about just a while ago, it was funny you said about these relationships within the industry. A lot of times realtors don't think about how if they ruin a relationship within this deal that they have going on right now, that can ruin another deal. We weren't beefing, but we had an issue with another realtor not too long ago, and I went to go show another house that he had listed. He was trying to get his buyer to buy my house. It was a whole issue, and I went to go show a house that he had listed, right? And we were there, we were walking, we were talking, and I already knew in the back of my head, I was like, okay, this dude's already going to be, I was already game planning, right? I had already interacted with him. I knew like his buttons that you could push because he had blown up on us before. So I was just like, I already knew how to play it, and my client wanted that house. It didn't end up being that my client didn't want that house, but I already knew how to play him. Approach it. Yeah, because he had blown up. So I already knew his buttons to push. And I think that's what a lot of realtors don't take into consideration with relationships within this industry, is that it could affect not just that deal, but a bunch of deals you have down the line.
It's a big industry. It's a big city. But at the end of the day, you're going to see that producers starts getting real niche and in between lenders. I mean, you're going to know who's who.
Yeah.
You're going to know from the previous realtors, hey, this lender did this. This lender did this. Oh, this guy's doing this. This happened with there. And at the end of the day, it does how you treat yourself and how you treat your others is going to come back for good and for bad.
So the real estate market with the agents is getting really starting to shrink.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so you're starting to see the same people over and over again, the people that are really producing. And yeah, if they start, if they don't carry themselves well, people, they start getting a reputation. And there's been some people that have reputation, but
let's talk about reputations within the industry. We were actually just at a friend's video shoot the other day, and there was actually a few realtors who pulled up.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
It was a music group. They were doing the video for one of their new songs, and a few realtors showed up, and it was funny. We started talking. We had never met before, and out of nowhere, like el chisme comenzó, right? I don't really like to talk about other realtors simply because I don't necessarily know a lot of realtors, because I'm just starting to actually make connections within the industry. I was always like, I just need to work and that's it. No. Within the industry, if you want to continue to grow, you do need to build relationships. But man, we were just listening. We weren't really talking. We were there in the background, and we was a bunch of little realtors talking, and we were like, man, this is a dirty business. So how important, how important is it, the personal relationships within the industry, whether that be work-wise or even a little bit more than work-wise, a little too friendly?
Yeah, I don't know. We weren't part of the conversation. They were just listening. They were listening.
We were eavesdropping.
We were eavesdropping because they were talking about this one brokerage, right? And they were talking about all the stuff that was going on there, man. It sounded like Caligula, just like it was just talking about having people having affairs.
Charlie and his angels, yeah.
I was like, okay. And we're just listening, right? So then one of my realtors started talking to the guy and was like, who, oh yeah, I used to be with this company, yada yada, and they were doing this, we were doing that. And he goes, who you with? He goes, oh no, we're Lionsgate Realty. He goes, that's the broker, and he pointed to me. And the guy like, oh yeah, man, you're broke. Oh cool, whatever. He starts talking to me and saying all this stuff. And I said, yeah, bro. I said, we don't allow that over here, bro. We don't. I said, ain't nobody acting crazy like that. I said, as a matter of fact, I know that brokerage, and we hire somebody and fire somebody from there because they wanted to. That's the way they wanted to get their business, and he kind of just got like, and I said, I don't want to participate in that conversation,
Yeah, no, and for me, the biggest thing is, right.
The worst part is the spreads are like, wow.
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Realtors is super chatty patty within the industry, and that's why I hold my reputation very close to my chest. The reason why I don't like to hang out necessarily with realtors in that type of environment, because I know that they end up being chatty patties. And then there were name dropping left
They
and
were name
right.
dropping like
And
crazy.
I was like, whoa. I was like, you don't like, if you're gonna talk about somebody, you say, oh, well, you know. Yeah, but yeah, cada quien lo suyo. But you don't say the names. They were just name
they were
dropping
just
left
name
and right.
dropping.
Like,
This was the flow of the conversation. They just start
Yeah.
boom, 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 like
I didn't.
Well,
I don't-
Imagine there was drinking.
Yeah,
involved
yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
you know what they say whenever they start name dropping like that, there's a lawsuit coming around the corner.
I don't participate in any of those conversations.
That's whenever I take this foot back. I was like, okay, yeah, I don't even want to hear who the next name is.
But you know what I thought was funny was that we didn't know they were realtors because of the way they were dressed.
Yeah.
And it's like all right. And the thing about it is like, even, okay, you're not their business, right? You're there just to hang out, right? Even for hanging out, it was kind of like, okay, well, this guy kind of, he presents himself as not of a profession, and it's like, all right, I guess if you're gonna be showing homes in River Oaks, you can dress, with t-shirts and tennies and as long as your t-shirt costs $1,100 and your tennies costs $2,000, you could do that, But if you're gonna sell in the Woodlands, you gotta wear a suit,
I mean, you have to play you have to play the part, man. Even like in River Oaks, like you still have to play the part.
I think so too, yeah.
And not just that, it's like the things that you partake in, right? Like if you were to anybody there, right? Like I was just telling Nate, like I've actually slowed down on my drinking. So that yesterday I wasn't drinking at all because I told myself I'm actually gonna I'm drinking water, bro. Why you look over here?
Look like cold
I
tequila.
know, right? So yesterday I went with the intention to widen my network, right? Something that I'm working on. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do this soberly. So to make sure that I'm presenting the right thing, because I'm not here to necessarily make more friends. I'm here to expand my network and see who I can help. Yeah. And then if it turns into a friendship, exactly, right? It will. But I have to present myself a certain way, and you just start to pay more attention whenever you're not necessarily partaking within the party. And it was a little bit different. I feel like you can point out who's the professional in the room.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Whenever in those events, right? But even do you guys have like any experiences of running into a realtor that kind of like blew up a deal for you because they didn't know how to control their emotions?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, I haven't really negotiated like with like a
even
experienced realtor, but
that canceled. Wait,
I've had realtors give up
contract. We were.
Hold on, what happened? Walk us through that.
Emotions.
Yeah,
the negotiations got heated. We were already in the. They wanted to negotiate repairs. They felt like the sellers weren't giving them enough for what their house cost. It appreciated. It was appraised more, but they weren't giving up the amount of money that they. So wait, does he want the house? Yeah, he really wants the house. So why'd you cancel? Wait,
what?
He wants the house. You canceled because you didn't know, and you didn't know what you didn't know. I would say it's maybe not in the sole experience. I would say maybe less. I don't know. Cancel the house, and I said no. Bring it back. If he wants the house, finance is taken care of. We have appraisal. Why would you cancel? Well, thankfully, it came back. I was trying to keep everything at bay, but they had released earnest money, so we had a contract.
Oof.
But the financing stayed in place. I said no, bring it back. And emotions that get involved, and I felt like
yeah. So I don't do retail sales anymore. Like I don't list properties and do all that stuff. But I always get involved in all of my heat cases, and like I think right now, what are we like at 56, 58 realtors? So you're gonna get at least 1 or 2 heat cases a month, where it's like
always.
and it's always like the just the strangest things, it's just like realtors that have no experience, and there's one realtor that same like was trying to cancel the deal, and it's like, well, we're canceling, we want our earnest money back, and we're like, well, no, you don't have an option period here, and he's over there he's over there raising heck with with my realtor, and she gets kind of freaked out and calls me. So, so I get involved and I say, hey, what's going on? Like, because I don't like to go straight to the broker. I like to call the realtor first to see if maybe there's just a miscommunication, misunderstanding. I always tell everybody, a new face is a new, you know what I'm saying? You could be talking to a realtor and for whatever reason, you guys will just come to an impasse, and then I'll call and it'll be a different story and I'll save the deal, So
I agree. Sometimes it's not even your words, it's how you carried yourself.
Yeah.
So that's where that conversation about professionalism.
definitely.
I mean, you talk about senior stepping up. Sometimes it's just the way you compose, you approach the situation. Sometimes you might not even say a whole lot.
Yeah.
You
So
said, hey, what can I help you?
exactly.
Yeah.
Let's make this.
So I speak to I speak to this realtor, and I'm just kind of, I say, hey, what's going on? Oh, well, they want to cancel. I said, well, you didn't have an option period. I said, but what's the problem? And and she's telling me, oh, they don't want the house no more. And I said, well, ask them, why don't they want the house? Oh, because AC, this and that and the other. Okay, well, ask them if, let's see what we can do if the AC gets repaired or whatever. I know my client doesn't have to do it, but maybe to save the deal they can. Oh, they're not gonna do that. They're not gonna do that. I said, well, hold on.
Oh.
You can't
Speak for your
speak
client.
for your client.
Mm-hmm.
Go ask your client. I'm gonna put it in writing. And she was like pretty much like, no, like he's not gonna do it. Like, so you can't make those decisions, and time again I run into the same issue where it's like, you speak to
Deal.
well, no, you speak to realtors and they're like, oh, my client's not gonna do that, they'll never do that. And I'm like, whoa, you get that in writing from me that you spoke to your client and that you asked him that, because that's what I'm asking. That's what my client is asking. We don't speak for ourselves. We speak for, speak for our clients,
Yeah.
And then, I even have, one thing that I have with my realtors, I always tell them, hey, don't ever, like, somebody sends an offer, right? Before it gets executed, don't ever send and say, hey, it's accepted, or yeah, they're going to take it, or they like that, or they'll take this. I said, because that technically is in writing, you accepting the offer for your client. And I had a deal like that where the realtor told them, hey, they're gonna take it, I'll get you executed by tonight. Didn't happen.
Hey,
Next day they took another offer.
real.
I called the realtor and I said, hey, you accepted it on this is in writing, you accepted it. I said, they have to take my offer. No, and she yelled at me and told me all kinds of laws that or whatever. She was explaining contracts to me. That's funny. And I was like, okay. I said, I'm gonna call your broker. I said, and I call him and he's gonna tell you that he's my friend. He backed me, whatever. I'm like, oh, okay. Call the broker, and what I thought was super interesting was that because the broker owned the franchise, right? The broker had no idea. Let me rephrase that. He wasn't a broker. He was the owner of the franchise. He didn't know.
He didn't know the law.
He was like, no, that's not how it is. I said, hey, look, I know your house attorney. I said, personally. I said, because, I keep getting a lot of issues with your
From this
from
particular,
your particular franchise. I said, and I know him by name. So I said, you run this by him first, and then you come back to me. And they came back with their tail between their legs. Because it is what it is.
Yeah.
And they can get sued, and they're a franchise, and they have enough money to pay. So
Yeah.
it was a
We're not too far from the settlement.
Right? Yeah.
Things not
Yeah.
done.
Everybody's paying out right now, so
So, unfortunately, it kind of sucks, but a lot of people feel like oh, and I had the same idea when I got my real estate license. I always said, oh, I got my real estate license, I'm gonna go to this big box company and I'm gonna learn how to do it professionally and with a big company. And a lot of people don't understand that a lot of times these franchises don't have the capacity to train. They just pretty much milk you for your fees. And so you have a lot of these realtors that are just out here and they don't know what the heck they're doing, and they give them this generic class training, for hours that teaches them nothing, just about as much as Champion School of Real Estate teaches you. So yeah.
Good point. That's a very good point about that. What's too much is too little.
Yeah.
But between big brokerages, and I saw a video out there where it says the different types of brokerages and what you get from it. I don't like calling brands, but it's kind of funny watching the differences.
Yeah.
Would you go to this brokerage for? Would you go to this brokerage? Same thing with the lender. At our capacity, I mean, all loan officers start at
Mhm.
probably a bigger corporation, a one of the big retail shops, big corporations.
Mhm,
And as you grow, you start seeing that yes, you're gonna make less, but you're gonna probably learn a little bit more. You're gonna go through a lot more headaches.
Mhm.
You're gonna get some training. What really truly teaches you is how much exposure you get on the job.
You have to get on the field. You have to get the experience. You can't fast
On
track
the
it.
on the job, in action, and with transactions, and seeing the heartaches, because nobody likes messing up a deal. But how many deals have we not messed up?
Yeah.
Because we started. Now, I always say, if we're gonna mess it up, you just gotta make sure that you clean it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clean it up. Don't leave your mess out there. You have to, number one, clean up the damage. Make sure that communication was huge and should have been huge from the beginning, but now it wasn't. And you apologize when it's due.
Mhm.
And at the end of the day, like you were saying earlier about how I see myself, and I start seeing, I continue seeing some cultures. Well, bygones be bygones,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you have
Oh, yeah.
to try to keep a clean slate at lender capacity. A lot of these realtors see our pre-approval letters,
Mhm.
and they're asking, "Hey, just want to make and they call me, hey, just want to make sure that you vetted. Yep, we closed the last one. Yep, it's a good feeling." And sometimes when they have that bad feeling, bad transaction comes back, it's like, look, that was the individual client, the individual situation. You cannot prejudge. But now, shame on me if I mess it up a second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. It's gonna seem a little bit off topic, but let me ask you a question. See, I want to get your honest opinion. And I want to get your opinion as well, both of
Yeah.
you guys. How do you guys feel about like the books like Art of War, all these classics, right? How to influence people and all these things. How do you feel about recommending that book to everybody? Say, you got to read this book. You got to read that. What's the laws? The
48 Laws of
48
Power.
Laws of Power. How do you feel about everybody just reading these books?
It's good if you have time. It's good. I can't tell you because I feel like I have to lead by example. If I haven't read it,
Mhm.
I can't tell you to read something.
Yeah.
that I
Mhm.
haven't.
I think my point to that is like there's some people that it's just they ain't got no business reading.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
They don't have no business reading. Art of War. Okay, it's not gonna help you. In your day job. Or in your life.
It could flip
Yes.
you an ad.
Yes.
It's the right book at the wrong time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you like those books, like
Now you have
for
to
the
recommend it to me.
yeah, like the 48 laws. Perfect example. The 48 Laws of Power is the reason why it's outlawed within the prison system, right? It's for the wrong. It's the wrong person gets a hold of the book. It shows you how to do the things you shouldn't do.
Yeah.
For at the right time, somebody who needs it, who's growing within their business, and it's good timing. It's perfect for them. But a new realtor gets recommended something like the Art of War or the 48 Laws of Power. They're gonna want to be broker tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then they're going to play in these little games that they don't even know how to play them properly. That's the problem. And implement that properly to build a proper business. Those tricks, well, not tricks, right? But those laws and those whatever you're learning within the book, it's just something to throw into your tool belt. But you also have to learn how to use the tool,
Yeah, that's true.
right? That's the problem.
And that's my point, right? Just like you just said, I was gonna bring that up that the 48 laws of power are outlawed in the prison because the wrong people were getting a hold of the book and doing things they weren't supposed to, right? I honestly feel that although it's easy to get your real estate license, real estate is not for everybody, and it's proven. That's why only 20% of realtors make it. So if you get a realtor, right, that comes into the business 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, you shouldn't be training this realtor, okay, how to figure out ROIs. You should be training this realtor on how to figure out cap rates, or how to I mean, you should be training him on the basics, on the basics of what their capacity is. And that's what happens with a lot of these box real estate companies, these big franchises. They just run these guys that were they were retail workers that they a week before, and now they're working for this company, and they have them out there just training on topics just enough to get them in trouble. It's almost like giving them a loaded gun,
So
and they go out. No, seriously,
it's
you give them
enough rope to hang yourself with.
enough rope to hang yourself. They go out there and they're dealing with buyers, and they're reviewing contracts. I mean, it's scary. I mean, contracts are serious. They're serious.
Yeah, there is.
Binding
You don't know
contract.
how many times I've people like, oh, they don't want to buy no more. You just keep the earnest money. No, it's 45 days. We gave you an extension. No, this is legal trouble. There needs to be something needs to be fixed here, and they don't understand. And it's terrible, and so I just think that me and Giovanni have a disagreement with that, right? Giovanni's always like, no, it's the consumer's fault for not doing their due diligence and just looking for the least commission. They don't want to pay commission, so that's what they get, And I'm like, no, I say the brokers have a responsibility. You can't, and it's people like Keller Williams sending all their people out there, just mindlessly, bringing in clients, just churn and burn is what I call it, right? They do that for a long time, and then they get hit up with this lawsuit, and it's like, nobody, I would think if I was working for a company that got hit with a big lawsuit that supposedly is going to change the industry, I would be abandoning ship, right? No, what is Keller Williams doing? They're letting everybody build their little teams underneath so that they can brand their own logos. So take away the shame of what they did, and lowering caps, lowering commission splits, and making people if you got 1 year, 2 years in this business, you are not a mentor. If you got, you should have at least 5 years experience before you become a team leader. I mean, this is not a game. This is not apartment locating. This is serious. People are buying homes, and I just
I see it. I see it across the industry. Now we're all on social media, right?
Yeah.
So you see the growth. You see, I'm all for entrepreneurship. I'm all for growth. Is it sustainable? Can you keep that? Can you keep that exposure? The risk is always going to be. I feel like the risk in creating teams, creating liabilities that now go with to that broker, because now essentially you're running a mini franchise within your franchise.
Yeah.
And sometimes they don't even know it's a KW, or it's a sometimes they don't know it. They just see the team.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, this was cast again. Thanks Jesus for coming here with us. If you guys want to know information about being a professional realtor, this is a podcast you need to watch. We are live you know what, we're not doing live some more, but we go up every Thursday around roughly 6 or 7 p.m. You can catch us on our YouTube channel, Lionsgate Realty. This is the HBR podcast for now. We might switch the name, we don't know just yet. But again, this is all real estate related topics. If you want to come and join the podcast, feel free to send us a message. If you're part of the real estate industry, we focus on real estate, making realtors here in the Houston area better. Jesus, go ahead and exit. Let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us. My name is Jesus Hernandez again, and I'm with Clear Choice Home Loans on Instagram and Facebook as Apply with Jesus.
Don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe. See you next week.